Information is power, right? But honestly, it only matters if it actually reaches its target intact. Every single day, organizations are pushing out critical data, and the methods they choose to send it, well, that can literally mean the difference between widespread operational success or just complete systemic failure. In this explainer, we're breaking down the exact tactical stakes of how information gets disseminated. We're looking at the raw mechanics of pushing data out to an audience, the vulnerabilities hiding inside those systems, and the strict operational rules you absolutely need to follow to maintain control over your message. Okay, let's get right into this. Before we can even evaluate the specific tools at our disposal, we really have to define the battlefield. Communication media, it sounds formal, but it's really just the method of delivery you use to hit a specific target audience. And fundamentally, this splits into two completely distinct operational domains. On one side, we've got paper-based media, the physical, tangible assets. On the flip side, there's the computer-based or digital domain, the lightning-fast electronic transmission of data. Literally, every single communication strategy relies on mastering the friction between these two arenas. Now, the intelligence driving our briefing today comes straight from the Cambridge IGCSE ICT Syllabus Revision Guide, specifically Chapter 6.1. This documentation doesn't just suggest a few best practices. No, it lays out the absolute foundational requirements you need to understand modern ICT applications. Think of it as the definitive rulebook for how traditional and digital systems actually hold up under pressure. Section 1. The analog domain. So we're starting with physical, paper-based networks. These are tangible assets. You hold them in your hand, deploy them in the field, leave them behind. That makes them incredibly effective in very specific localized environments. Take newsletters, for instance. Organizations use them to push vital info directly into someone's hands. But here's the thing, you can't just throw a bunch of text on a page and hope for the best. The syllabus mandates some pretty strict formatting rules to establish visual hierarchy. You've got to organize text into clear columns. You're locked into clean, highly legible fonts, specifically Arial or Trebuchet MS, right between 11 and 14 points. Bold headings only, never underlines. And you have to engineer enough white space to avoid cognitive overload. Fun fact here, studies actually show that proper white space can boost reading comprehension by up to 20%. That's huge! Oh, and crucially, use real, high-quality photographs. Clip art is an absolute no-go if you want to keep things looking professional. Then, of course, you've got posters. Big, distinct sheets designed for immediate public awareness. They are absolutely essential for broadcasting the critical stuff, like the date, time, venue, and admission fees. They give you extreme visibility to a massive audience, and the best part? Zero digital infrastructure required to view them. But they carry some massive physical vulnerabilities. They get destroyed by weather, meaning their operational lifespan is severely limited. Plus, printing them drains your material budget, and renting the physical billboard space to actually display them, that can get exceptionally expensive. Which brings us to a really critical inflection point. If physical media is this easily damaged, so expensive to deploy at scale, and totally restricted by geography, what exactly happens when information breaks the physical barrier entirely? Section 2. The digital storefront. The second we abandon paper, we step into a frontier defined by sheer volatile speed and massive global scale. We aren't limited by the speed of a delivery truck anymore. We are operating at the speed of light across fiber optic networks. Websites are essentially your global digital storefront, totally replacing those physical flyers. And the advantages are staggering, really. You get worldwide advertising reach. You can embed dynamic, rich media like audio and video loops. You can push instant live updates in seconds. And you completely eliminate those recurring print costs. But look at the stark contrast on the right side here. By existing digitally, you are opening the door to targeted cyber threats. We're talking malicious script injection, defacement, hacking, and exposing your users to phishing and pharming attacks. Not to mention, you are now forever chained to continuous server maintenance and hosting fees. Just glancing at these source guidelines side by side, you can immediately spot the dense technical specifications required just to navigate these networks safely. This documentation doesn't just hype up the surface-level benefits. It heavily underscores the intense infrastructure demands of running modern computer-based media. Think about multimedia presentations, stuff built on software like PowerPoint or Canva. They use interactive transitions, embedded video, and high-contrast layouts to aggressively grab your attention, way better than some plain text handout ever could. But all that dynamic capability, it actually creates a massive tactical weakness, which is hardware reliance. You are strictly dependent on specialized equipment. If you don't have functioning projectors, speakers, and electronic screens, Or if you don't have a highly skilled operator to run it without a glitch, the whole thing falls apart. Section 3. Real-time media transmission. Okay, moving past static digital files, this is where things shift entirely to continuous data flow. We're bypassing local storage limits and pushing information right into the field as it happens. Media streaming is simply the real-time transmission of video or audio data packets from a remote server straight to a device. And the mechanics are brilliant. It plays immediately. You skip the need to download massive multi-gigabyte files, which saves a ton of vital local storage on your hard drive or SSD. But, and it's a big but, the operational requirement is incredibly severe. You are totally reliant on a fast, hyper-stable internet connection. Just one drop in that signal, and you're suddenly trapped in endless buffering loops or fatal midstream crashes. Now, e-publications take that exact digital efficiency and apply it to text. These digital counterparts to printed books and magazines completely wipe out the logistics of physical shipping and print processing. And the tactical advantages for the reader are huge. You get dynamically adjustable text sizes, built-in electronic dictionaries, and the mind-blowing ability to store literally thousands of texts on a single, highly portable, lightweight device like an e-reader. Section 4. Mobile infrastructure. Everything we've talked about so far leads right to the protocols that handle immediate, direct, person-to-person communication across the globe. And the crucial point here is how these mobile protocols act under duress. On one hand, you've got SMS, short message service, instantaneous text delivery, extremely cost-effective, and its absolute greatest superpower is raw reliability. You can receive an SMS even if your device has a terribly low signal or is temporarily powered off. Now contrast that with VoIP, Voice over Internet Protocol. VoIP takes analog speech and converts it into discrete digital data packets. This drastically slashes long-distance costs, basically making calls free over Wi-Fi, and it naturally integrates real-time video streaming. But, exactly like streaming media, it heavily demands absolute network stability. And to actually execute these mobile networks, the syllabus mandates a very strict hardware checklist. Think about your own daily setup. You simply cannot run VoIP without dedicated physical inputs. You've got to have functioning microphones, high-res webcams, and above all else, high-speed network interfaces to process those digital packets so you don't get that maddening lag. Section 5. Strategic Syllabus Comparison. This really brings us to the climax of the whole briefing. The ultimate requirement of the IGCSE exam isn't just to memorize these systems, it's to pit them directly against each other. When you are choosing a communication vector, you have to weigh some very precise metrics. Paper-based media gives you great localized reach and is highly accessible to non-technical users, but it absolutely bleeds resources through heavy, recurring print costs. On the flip side, digital media offers massive global reach and the unparalleled speed of instant updates, but it creates a steep technical barrier to entry and requires non-stop network uptime. So we've mapped out the physical limitations of analog media and the invisible, lightning-fast dangers of digital networks, which leaves us with a final, really critical question to consider. In an era increasingly defined by targeted cyber threats, malicious scripts, and totally unforeseen server blackouts, is our absolute reliance on digital infrastructure a fatal operational flaw, or is the physical resilience and the severe limitations of paper already completely obsolete? Analyze your networks, evaluate your dependencies, and stay focused.